All right. I think I'm live. How crazy is this? All right. I just want to go and check a couple things here. So let's see. Am I live on the tweeters? I'm live on Twitter. I see it. Awesome. Very cool. Um, let's go check YouTube where it says live. Look at that. Holy cow. Hey, we are live. How crazy is that? All right, so I wonder if I can go and real quickly go into Twitter here and see if I can do anything with this. Okay, we'll just leave it. Hey, I got someone viewing and they jumped off. All right. No worries. I'm not even thinking I'm going to get anybody on here tonight. It is a Friday night. It's almost 9 o'clock p.m. here, Central Standard Time. So I'm assuming, and it's a Friday, right? Did I just mention that? It's been a long day. I'm assuming people are probably doing things with their lives. Spending time with family, out and about, whatever. But yeah, anyway, I have chosen to do, as you can see by the title of this, Code It Up. Code It Up. So leveling up my skills in web development and coding. This is day 1 of 100. Yesterday I did some coding, and then before that I hadn't done much in a long, long time. And really, I talk about coding all the time. In fact, I'm kind of like co-host slash more like MC-ish. Anyway, for JavaScript GM. Actually, if you go to JavaScript GM on Twitter, check us out there. We're even on YouTube, or go to javascriptjam.com. You can see there as well. But yeah, I'm on that. Plus, I'm doing a new series with a colleague of mine, good friend, Anthony Campolo, AJC Web Dev on the tweeters. And we're doing a series of like him kind of like teaching me some code stuff, right? And so we're actually going to be focused on, for this series that we're doing together, and I don't know what it will be the next series that we're doing, but this series we're focusing on coding the javascriptgm.com website. We're going to take it, right now we use something called Ghost, and we're going to take it and change that to, well, we'll probably still use Ghost for like the newsletter and stuff like that. And we're going to do like this headless approach essentially with Astro. So that's fun. If you want to check that out, feel free to check us out. We go live on Thursdays with that at 1 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, 11 Pacific. And on Wednesdays, we always go live on Twitter Spaces with JavaScript Jam, and we do like this open mic deal where we talk about anything web development, JavaScript related, whether you're a beginner, whether you're an advanced user or a developer, it doesn't matter. We love to hear from everybody. So with that being said, there's a lot going on. I'm really excited. And I've been kind of helping co-host that JavaScript Jam bit for like, I don't know, almost 2 years or something like that. But anyway, I definitely need to work on upping my tech skills, leveling them up. So I just want to kind of like go through some stuff here. So I got some pretty exciting things. I don't know. I've just been I don't know what you call it. I'm just really excited again to really get into coding and begin doing it. And maybe it's because I'm just taking massive action with it. With doing that new thing with Anthony, and then also, I mean, my job, I'm a technical community manager, so I work with a lot of developers in and out throughout the day. So, and go to conferences and events and things like that. Speaking of which, if you're going to be in Miami at React Miami, I'll be there with Anthony. And then also coming up, we're going to be going to Remix Conference. I'll be there with Anthony too. And then potentially, I believe, NG Conference as well, which is an Angular kind of based conference, which is really exciting. So lots of cool things going on there. Really excited for all that, for us to begin this. So tonight, I'm not sure as far as consistency with like what time I'll be going live with these day one of 100s. It's going to be, I probably should solidify like a date or a time and a day well, I'm going to be doing this every day. But I need to like pick a time that's going to be good. And so I'm not sure what that's going to be yet. Right now, honestly, I've been sitting here and I've been kind of messing around with stuff, and I'm like, you know what? I just need to freaking start streaming this because I was actually talking to Anthony earlier today, and I was like, man, I've been messing with Chat GPT, and I was creating this really cool thing, which I'll get into in a second. And it was helping me to make this, and I still needed to piece things together and figure out problems, but it was helping me along the way, right? It was really amazing, and helping me do things that I wouldn't normally be able to do. And I just thought, wow, like this is phenomenal. I can't believe I've gotten this far. Yeah, there were some errors and things like that, and I'm kind of like starting from scratch actually tonight. I'm going to show you here shortly, but I'm really excited about it. And we may not get a finished product tonight. We'll see. But I don't have a whole lot of time to be streaming tonight. It is kind of late, but I will definitely be getting started earlier in the evening. So with that being said, I was procrastinating. I was like putting it off, or not necessarily procrastinating. I was putting off doing this live stream stuff. I was just like, dude, I was actually, it was perfection. It was like perfectionism that was getting in the way. I was like, okay, well, StreamYard or Ecamm Live, or what should I use for the streaming platform, yeah, and I was like weighing the pros and cons and all this other stuff. And I've used both. So, well, at least now I used StreamYard earlier today with Anthony, or the other day, yesterday. But I used Ecamm Live before that. And I was just like, well, what do I do with that? What's really going to be the best option for the long term? And then I was like, okay, well, now that, but okay, with this thing I'm doing, should I create like a landing page for people to check some things out and like, be able to do different things with that? And so do I need to actually do that before I get on here and go live? And it's like, you know what? No. Like, I just need to get on here and take the action and make this a reality, right? So here I am. This may not be perfect, I'm just talking and figuring this out as I go. So bear with me, bear with me as I push forward with this to make this happen. I'm really excited though, and looking forward to doing some cool things. So yeah, here we go. All right. So I'm seeing, what's interesting is on Twitter, I'm seeing I have one viewer, and then elsewhere on the actual stream here, it's not showing that, but it's kind of interesting. Can you make a comment on the tweet, and I wonder if it'll show up in the comments over here for me, but if you don't mind, whoever you are. If not, no big deal. But I was just trying to learn the StreamYard system here. I haven't really messed with it too much. So, all right. So let's begin. I'm really excited for this part. So here we are, almost 10 minutes in. And now I just want to give you guys a little context and a little bit of a background, what I'm doing, where I'm at, and what I'm going to be doing. So, and I did promise to do like 100 days of coding, like, I don't know, months ago. And I didn't do it yet. And I just kept putting off. Well, here I am. So I'm doing it. And it's going to be good for me. This is going to help me advance my career. It's going to do all kinds of stuff. It's just going to make me a better person. Like my background is marketing, sales, like a lot of marketing though. I used to work for a company called ClickFunnels, and I was like, I coached like hundreds of entrepreneurs and business owners on how to better market and sell their products and services online. So I have a lot of that knowledge and background. And then I kind of started my own company, and I did that for a little bit, where I was doing that with a couple clients, and helping them to do those things. And then, COVID came around and some other things, but I'm not going to get into all the weeds. But basically, now I work for this amazing company called Edgio, EDGIO, and we focus on hosting web applications, sites, things like that. Anyway, just if you want to check it out, you can. Yeah, edg.io. Anywho, it's an awesome company to work for, and I'm really happy to be there. So, but with that being said, this is going to be a good journey. So, I wish I could I got to figure out if I can connect my iPad to this too, so I can share that screen as well, stuff like that. I know I used to be able to do that with Zoom. I don't know if we could do it with StreamYard, but okay, let's really dig in here. What I'm going to do is share my screen, and I'm going to just kind of start going over what I was doing last night and yesterday, and this idea that kind of came to me because we're going to be doing a giveaway on JavaScript Jam. Actually, this coming Wednesday, if you guys want to go check it out, it's at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we'll be chatting with a couple of the speakers from React Miami, and just kind of giving some sneak peeks into what they're going to be doing, and just having a really good time. And we're going to be giving away a free admission, a free ticket to React Miami. So really happy with that and excited for that, because React Miami actually is collaborating with us on this to push out and do some really cool things with them. And just, we love talking about events that we like to go to anyway. So that was one that we reached out to see if we could do something with. So really excited about that. So with that being said, we wanted to do a giveaway. And to do this giveaway, we're kind of thinking, what would we do? And we're like, you know what? Let's have people retweet the stream or something, right? Or retweet the live, the space that we're in on Wednesday. And so whoever retweets gets entered in to have this random drawing happen. And when we're done, or at the end, and then we'll have the system randomly pick someone, right? Now, I'm sure there's probably, and I haven't done the research yet, but I'm sure there's probably software, out there that you can get that does this already for you. Maybe, or maybe it doesn't even do the exact thing I want it to do. And it probably costs a decent amount or whatever, or something at least. And I don't know, you know how it is, as someone who likes to create things, as a developer or whatever, with that mindset, you're like, oh, well, maybe I could make this thing, right? Instead of pay for it. But so I looked into it, and in looking into it, that's the beautiful thing about Chat GPT. Okay. One of the things, by the way, I call Chat GPT HomieGPT. So just started that a couple of days ago. Yeah. So HomieGPT, my best friend, HomieGPT. I talk to him all the time, or it could be her, but I don't know. It could be whoever. But yeah, Chat GPT. Let me share my screen so I can show you what I've been looking at. All right, share screen. Okay. Am I sharing the whole screen? How does this work? Ah, yes, it does give me options. Great. Okay. Cool. So, boom. All right. We're sharing the screen here, folks. Here we are. So, this is a huge conversation, as you can see. Look at this. It goes on forever. Wow. Look at this. Oh, wait. You know what? You guys can't see it yet. I have to bring it into the stream. I apologize. There we go. Okay, so hopefully this is big enough for y'all to read. Let's go smaller on me. Okay, so this is a huge conversation that I've had with Chat GPT, as you can see. Lots of prompts in here, lots of iterating, lots of, hey, what about this? Hey, what about that? Things that I think about. So initially, this was going to be a Twitter retweet tracker. Say that 10 times fast. Twitter retweet tracker. Retweet tracker. Holy cow. Anyway, that's what this was going to be. Okay. And at first it started off as, okay, hey, let's track retweets of a specific tweet, right, on Twitter, and then run a random drawing of those users tracked to determine a winner for a prize / giveaway or drawing. Hence the React Miami tickets that we're going to be giving away, right? So it automatically was like, okay, well, let's do Python, and then let's use a library called Tweepy, and this is going to help us to do that, right? So here's some code for you. Here's an example of some Python with that in it. Now, then it says it listens for tweets in real time. When you're on the script, you need to provide a tweet ID, the duration, variable. Okay, so then I was asking, okay, like, so just to understand like the script better and how this was written out, that's why I love Chat GPT, because I can just break this down like this, right? It's like, when will the actual drawing happen, right? Like when is this going to happen, like on its own in 10 seconds? Is it going to happen? Like how does it work, right? So it says here that the actual drawing happens after the specified tracking duration ends. So there is a time. I was like, see, I wouldn't have known this unless I really went through, I guess, maybe install that. Let's see. You know what? I don't even see where maybe I'm just browsing through this too fast, but I don't even see where. I see listener. I see authentication there. I see where it picks the winner. I see the authentication for Twitter app there. I see error code. I see the retweet status. That's what it's utilizing that in the library to track that. I see retweet listener, self-tweet, tweet ID, and then all the API access keys and all that stuff. Which, by the way, you would not want to put this in here if you're going to make this a front-facing thing, unless you're just going to use this for yourself, right? So whatever. Then you need an environment variable or environment thing inside of you, which I'm not fully familiar with at this point. All right, so yeah, I'm not even see where the time would be, but time.sleep duration. Here we go. Here we go. Sorry. Duration, input, enter the tracking duration in seconds. So what it would do is it would prompt you, I guess. It would say, enter the tweet ID to track the retweets, right? So, yep. And then the next prompt, or maybe these were at the same time, it would say, hey, enter the tracking duration in seconds. So if you wanted to do 10 minutes, you would say 600 seconds, right? Or whatever. And so, is that 600? Yeah, 600 seconds. So the problem is that with our live that we do on Wednesdays, sometimes we go an hour, sometimes we go an hour and a half. And last time we went over 2 hours because it was such a good live, and there was a lot of engagement. A lot of people were having a good time. So naturally, we just kind of let that flow and just keep going until things kind of slow down a bit, or until we don't have time anymore. Maybe we have a hard stop. But either way, so there is no telling like when the end is going to happen. So we can't just have it where we enter the tracking duration in seconds. It's just not going to work. We're going to miss out. People are going to miss out on the opportunity to get in on the drawing, which we don't want. We want this to be as fair as possible, right? Give people the opportunity to retweet this. So then I said, okay, after I figured that out, when the actual drawing happens, then I said, well, I wanted it to kind of break down the code for me. So I said, can you comment in this code step by step, break down like these things that are mentioned right here, like when it happens in the code, right? These different things. After tracking duration ends, disconnect to AP stream. Yeah. So it did that. It said, all right, sure. Here it is. Here's the comments. So it's even telling you, hey, enter your own Twitter API credentials here, which should be obvious, but not necessarily. And then it says step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I love it. I love Chat GPT. It helps you to break things down and learn things, right? So that's what it's doing here. And then I said, all right, so instead of having it being a tracking duration in seconds, because that is problematic, as I just now explained. Excuse me. I just realized my face is like down underneath my name there, but maybe I can make that smaller somehow later. Anyway, so I said, can you change this from tracking duration in seconds to tracking duration that is turned off and on with a command, right? So you in the CLI, you could like put a command in or whatever in the terminal. You can put a command in, right? So it's like turn on, turn off, right? Sure, here you go. And then it modified it, and it says command to start and stop tracking. And so if you can see it in here if you were to go through it, but if you were to go down and just see what it tell you what it did. So it says, hey, basically the tracking, the script allows you to start and stop tweets using the command start and stop. Okay, and the tracking will continue until you enter the exit command to quit the script, which is interesting. So please note that using this method, the tracking will not be immediate, and there may be a slight delay between the entering the command and the actual tracking starting and stopping, which is interesting. However, my thought on this was, okay, so sorry, I got distracted. So I wanted to automatically start as soon as like you would input the tweet ID and stuff like that. So I said, okay, hey, let's do this. Let's make it to where we automatically track this guy with the tweet ID, and then but I want to be able to stop it with a command, right? Because I don't want it to be timed. And then I said, hey, also please include step-by-step comments in the code so I can learn this, right? So it said, of course, here it is, and it did it for me. So it changed it to, you'll see here, wait for user commands to stop tracking or exit the script. And it says start the tweet stream automatically after entering the tweet ID, right? That's exactly what we wanted. So that's what it does here. And then stop tracking when the stop command is entered. So here's this if here, yes, listener retweet, pick winner. So yeah, then as soon as it would stop, it would also, okay, go through the users, and then it would pick a winner from that, and it would print out, hey, congratulations, this person's name, you won the prize, right? No retweeters found, so if nobody did a retweet on that tweet, then it would just print that. So and then also if that command exit here, then it would stop tracking, exit the script, and that's it. And then it wouldn't do anything. I guess it would, if anything else, if there's any errors or anything, it would just print invalid command. So really cool breakdown of all that. So it did exactly what I wanted to do now. So like I said, I'm just constantly like iterating this to get it where I want it to be. Now, is this like guaranteed perfect or 100% right? Not necessarily, because I've heard of Chat GPT like giving you something and it's like, yeah, this is right, or like it's very 100%, it's very certain of itself. However, it just made something up, right? Like, oh, that's not even real, but I'm gonna put this in here because it is, because I want it to be real. Anyway, so, and that's fine. Like, it maybe as someone who's a a well-established developer and knows what they're looking at and talking to or looking at here, then they would see if, in these if and ands analysis, like, um, or wherever in the code, like they would see, oh, that's potentially problematic because that actually shouldn't be there, or that shouldn't be like that, or that's not even real, or that can't happen, or whatever. But that's fine. I don't care. Like, what I can do is I can try to implement this, and then there's going to be an error if there is a problem, right? And then the other really cool thing that I discovered is that if I have a long dialogue like this with Chat GPT, and I'm implementing these things in VS Code or wherever, then I can say, hey, I just ran into an error, copy the error, paste it in there, tell it, and it knows the context of what just happened because it told me to do these certain things, or it's working this out with me. And then it would say, oh, that error happened because of X, right? So actually, sorry, let's do this instead. And it would change it to that or whatever it is. So it actually would help you to debug it right there. And I literally did that last night with something. It was the coolest thing. It was like, which I'll get into actually here in a minute. So I'm going to continue scrolling through this. I'm not going to go through this entire thing because this is so much here. Because I changed my mind on many different things, many different times. But and then I said, you know what? Instead of like using Python or Tweepy, I said, why did you go with Python and Tweepy and not another library or from another, like, from another, not another library from another language or framework, like React or JavaScript or whatever it is, right? And it said it chose it because it was just readability, popularity, yada yada, Tweepy simplicity and feature set. But it said, yeah, actually, I could use Twitter for Ruby or Twit for JavaScript, Node.js. So whatever you want, right? I said, okay, well, can you actually? And I just wanted it to do JavaScript because that's kind of what we focus on, and not just that. I want to learn more JavaScript. So no, I'm not knocking Python at all. I actually have messed around with Python a little bit, but I want to learn more JavaScript. So so what it did was it did that. I said, hey, do the same thing, step-by-step comments using the Twit library. So it put it together, and it said, hey, here's how you do it. You install Twit there using the npm, and then you add this file called app.js. So that's your JavaScript file for the application. And then it puts this library pieces in there that need to run this, right? And then it says, hey, this achieves the same functionality as the Python version using the Twit library before, for Node.js. Starts checking retweets automatically after entering the tweet ID, and then stops with a stop command. And then to exit the script, you enter the exit command. Now, it says, hey, please replace placeholder values, API, all that good stuff. Now, I wouldn't put that in here, like I said, if this is client facing, but if it's just for you, whatever. And so then I started to go a little crazy. I started saying, this is so cool. How far can we really get with this, right? And at this point, I hadn't taken any code and put it into VS Code or any of that. I'm just talking this through and iterating it because I can see what it's doing, right? I already kind of know some code, and I understand the process, so I could see, it's doing. I'm not saying it's gonna work perfectly, and like I said, if there's some errors, whatever, we can work it out. But I can see what it's doing. So then what I did was I said, let's build out a little front end for this application, right? A UX, a user interface, a UI, right? So I said, sure, yeah, I'll create a simple front end for this thing using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, etc., with the help of the Express.js library for serving the front end and handling API requests. So to get started, you need to have Node.js installed on your machine, yada yada. So I did start this process eventually. So let me go ahead and just keep scrolling down. So it gives us all the code, HTML, the JavaScript. Here's the server file. Using Express and socket.io. Here's the server, and then here's the Twitter API credentials. I guess it would serve it from the back end, the server there. Yeah, interesting. So that way you would, well, anyway, we'll get back into that in a second. So then I said, just because like serverless is the thing nowadays, you know, I was like, can we make this serverless actually, right? Um, and I said, or would that take away from the app's functionality? Because I wasn't like 100% if I could go this route or not, because it was suggesting that I do use Express and all that. So anyway, so it said, yeah, you could actually do this, use AWS Lambda function, API gateway, however you need to consider a few points and applications, yada, yada. So I'm not going to go through all that, but you get the point. And then I said, well, it seems silly to go serverless with this if you have to end up using a database to save the state beyond 15 minutes because there's like a 15-minute timeout or whatever. What are the pros and cons of going serverless with this app? And then I think I found somewhere, and I can't remember where, maybe it's much further down, but I found that Twitter has a limitation it only gives you the last 100 retweets. Now, if you get more than 100 retweets, that's awesome, but this would probably suffice and do just fine. But with that being said, the we need a way for, because if somebody else were to use this that did get like a ton, like they have a huge following or something, and they tried to use this, it just wouldn't work, and it wouldn't be fair because you would only get the last 100 people who have retweeted, and it wouldn't work right. So anyway, and then I just kept going through and talking about AWS instead versus and then I was like, well, actually, can we like add a sign up wall now to make this a free software as a service app? And so then I was talking about Firebase, and then I was like, well, instead of Firebase, because I told it to continue and work all the way through this, and then I said, okay, actually, can we just like I said, let's see, it was talking about here we go. To make your app more user friendly, consider adding a logout button and handling user sessions, which I'm like, you know what, you can just add that at this point, because I was like, okay, what ways would you make this more user friendly? So I asked it a bunch of different things, or it said a bunch of different ways you could make it more user friendly. And I just said, okay, so I read through these and I was like, this looks good, this looks good, this looks good, this looks good, this looks good. This is just too much at this time, right? But very great ideas. Onboarding, localization, user feedback, all kinds of stuff. Heck yes. But I said, you know what? Let's just implement 1 through 6 here. User dashboard, access control, logout functionality, loading indicators, form validation, and user interface, right? Bootstrap, yada, yada, yada. So I said, all right, implement 1 through 6, and then note and comment where in the code. So it updated this version of the application to include UI improvements, form validation, loading indicators, logout functionality, access control, free. And then it suggested 3 giveaways, or being able to do 3 different giveaways. So like being able to run this app 3 times, right, for 3 different tweets essentially. And I'm like, whatever, we can like make that 500 later if we want. But I was like, sure, throw it in there, 3, just so we can work with this, and under a basic user dashboard. So and it says this is just like, it's inline, so it's simple. It's not in a separate style sheet, right? The CSS. So I was like, all right, fine, cool, make it happen. So it did it. It created this auth.html. Then it created this. It continued on with that auth.html file, and then it made a main JavaScript file. And then there we go. So now it says, all right, it implemented these 6 different things, which is super cool. And then it said, just please adjust the Firebase config. And then I was like, all right, please continue, because it paused here. Sometimes it'll do that if it's just processing so much, right? So then I was like, you know what? Actually, can you? I said, how much would this cost, right, to host and use the services herein if you had 500, say 500 free members using the app, right, with Firebase and all the things now that we're having to use to create this entire now SaaS, right? And it said, estimating the cost is difficult because things change, and obviously it only has information up to 2021, so as of right now. And so it just kind of gave me some like estimations here and stuff like that, which is fine. Then it started talking about something else and cloud functions, and then it was like, okay, yeah, you could probably accommodate the 500 free members within the free tier. So I was like, all right, Sounds pretty cool, but it didn't really know that because it's like, how many requests is that? How many retweets are there? How many requests are actually coming off of here, right? Like, I don't know, but anyway, it's probably right. So then I checked out this calculator. See, here's an example, right? Um, I guess they might have gotten rid of this after 2021 because it's just a 404 page now. And it's like, oh, sorry, here, just go check out the pricing. All right. Then I was like, you know what about Superbase? Because that's open source, and I thought that's pretty cool. I've heard really good things about it. Maybe that would be cool. So I said, well, what would you use, or would you use that rather than Firebase? And he gave me the pros and cons of both, and basically it said you could use it for either one would be great. I was like, all right. So then I was like, you know what? Let's just try Superbase. So I asked it to recode it Superbase with Superbase instead of Firebase, and so it did, and it did all that for me, and then it just changed like what it needed to. Like, it didn't need to change auth or index here, it said, which I'm not sure if that's true with auth data HTML, because I think I had to change it eventually because I was like, wait, man, there's some information in there for Firebase, so you need to change that. I think so. Anyway, so here's the main JS I redid, all this stuff. Here's the changes it says it did at the bottom. There you go. And then I said, please continue. I kept going through. Okay. So I'm not going to keep walking you through this whole thing. There's just so much more here. But basically, at the end of this, I started implementing this stuff and trying to create this software as a service, a free software as a service. I wanted to leave this open source. I actually did a bunch of research on like different licenses and which license to choose and all that. And I ended up going with, you can see here, I ended up going with Apache license 2.0, just because it's a good open source thing, good open source license to use. But yeah. So anyway, and by the way, as you can see, this commit or this repo here is like just the README, which nothing's in there. I need to do that license, and then get ignore file here, which I have not. I had a ton of stuff in here. I had all that stuff that I'm just going through right now, actually, in here, which I'll get to. I'm just going to keep scrolling down here. Here's what I was talking about, licenses, and what's the best option, all these different things. And then I even did some more research of like, well, what are other open source things doing? And and I opened up a new chat for that. I don't know where it's at, but anyway, and that's how I came upon it and just decided to do Apache 2.0. So once again, though, Chat GPT for the win. Hey, Alexis, what's up? Sorry if I missed you saying hello. That was like 15 minutes ago. I'm busy chatting it up over here with myself. What's up? There's Alexis. Hey, how's it going? All right. So let's keep going here. Okay. Scroll down a little more. Where am I at? PyScript. Oh yeah, it started. So this was interesting. So I was asking it to make so many changes at this point, and look how long this is, right? I don't know if it just couldn't go back as far as it needed to or what, but it started doing some silly things like saying, hey, okay, well, now you need a style sheet. And before it was saying how it simplified it and just put styles in there so you didn't have to have the style sheet. So now, after all these changes and iterations, it's like it started adding it in. So it was like, hey, here's a basic styles.css file for your Twitter giveaway app. This file provides a simple and clean layout. All right, fine. Okay, now show me some folder structure, because it was starting to look a little messy, and I was like, what do you think I should put this as? And then it said, yeah, here's the folder structure for this. Boom, 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 boom. And then it said backend app.py, which is some Python, requirements.txt, and then an environment variable there. And I'm like, wait. I said there wasn't any PyScript before. How come now there is? And it was like, oh, apologize for the confusion. The code provider uses JavaScript and Node.js for both front and back end parts. So you don't need that. So let me just redo the file structure here. So then it says, okay, server.js and package.json. And I couldn't remember that there was a server.js way up there because I have had so many iterations I did. And so I said, well, there was never a server.js file code earlier either. And it was like, oh, apologies, you're right, but I wasn't right. Anyway, but yeah, I said there's no backend, which is kind of true because I was using these front end files to interact with Supabase because I did go and create, which I guess I could show you that. Hold on, let me just bring up. Oh wait, I'm only sharing my tab. I don't know if I can. Yeah, I'll have to share that. Hold on one second. I just want to show you this Supabase piece here that I did because it was pretty interesting. I had never, and I'll show you how it helped me debug something real quick. So, excuse me. Let me bring this up here. Just throw this over here. There's Supabase. Okay, and I'm just going to grab it and drag it over here. Boom, boom, boom. And minimize that. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so now let me present, share screen, and do, there it is. This doesn't give away any crazy information, I don't think. Nope. Okay. All right, cool. So here's Supabase, and it helped me. Excuse me. It helped me come in here and create this and turn on this table and make this a reality, which is really cool. Because I was telling you, remember, I needed users and all this other stuff. At one point, I was going pretty crazy with it. So, and actually, it was a way. Supabase was a way to track more than 100 retweets. Right, that's what this was going to do. So, like I was going to have an ID here, email, giveaways remaining, because we're going to do like the whole free tier thing with 3, right? And then created that timestamp here. It didn't tell me to do that. That kind of came in Supabase, and so I just left it. Alexis says, here we go. It's insane how Chat GPT is giving you all this information and example code. I haven't used it for that purpose yet, but maybe when I start tackling a new technology, I should use Chat GPT. Yes, I mean 100%. I think you should, because it's insane to me the things that I've already learned just from this bit here, like how to set up Supabase and how to connect it into the code. Like, I mean, it's kind of mind blowing. Some people might think, oh, that's cheating. Like, this is creating it. But no, like I'm iterating with this thing, right? Like I'm going back and forth with this thing. Literally, I did this for 4.5 hours last night. Like I was up till like 2 a.m, right? And the only reason why I stopped, it's not cheating at all. It's like your own personal teacher. Exactly. See, that's exactly how I felt, Alexis. You were 100% right. Totally felt that way. Yeah, right. It's like, right. Yes. No, you're good. Yes, that's exactly how I felt, because I have, like, because before, when I was coding stuff, right, it was like, okay, now I gotta go and look at oh my goodness, my brain is like having the worst brain fart. What the heck was it called? What's it called? Where do developers find all of their information? Jeez Louise. I mean, not just Google, but anyway, there's resources out there. I can't even think what the heck the page is called. Anywho, people would go, or you would normally go and search for these things online, right? And it would take you who knows how long, because you got to make sure that you're typing in the right thing to say to find that thing, right? Which is crazy. Whereas Chat GPT, it's following you in the context. It knows what you're doing step by step because you're asking and iterating with it and doing these things. Yes, Stack Overflow. Thank you. Jeez, that's literally exactly what I was thinking. You know what I meant. Anyway, so normally you'd have to go search Stack Overflow or get bombarded and yelled at by people. If you do ask a question, please don't. I never have. I actually just look and look and look and look until I find my answer because I don't want to ask, right? So, because I've seen people get bashed, right, from doing that. But anyway, that developer community is very, very nice. Don't get me wrong. But it's just like any other form. It's like, oh, hey, that answer is actually over here, dude, or whatever. So, anywho, or that same question, right? So anywho, I went ahead and was thinking, I don't have to do that. I can just ask Chat GPT, and it tells me like an answer that I would normally go ask a developer friend of mine, right? And it's crazy how fast you can learn because it was 1:32 in the morning, and I can't go call somebody or whatever, or like. And most of the time when I do have these questions, I don't want to bug people with my questions because I feel dumb or whatever, or I just don't want to bug them. But yes, like you said, it removes the barrier of feeling stupid. There you go. That I just said. Chat GPT is great for people with social challenges, like you're explaining. Heck yes, promotes independent learning. Yes, it's very cool. I love it. I think this is the coolest thing ever, and it's finally, I don't know if you were on earlier when I was explaining this, but I said I was just sitting here like doing all this last night. And then I was talking with Anthony earlier today, and I was like, dude, I should be streaming this stuff. Like, if I'm on here for 4 hours doing this, why not stream it and show the power of this, the potential of it, the stuff that it does, and not just that, just keep learning code and stream. And he's like, yeah, you should be. Like seriously, there's a lot of people that are using ChatGPT, and they probably are missing out on the opportunity of streaming it, right? So I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't be missing out on this. However, I will say that I like was trying to be the perfectionist that I am, and I'm like sitting here like, well, what should I use? Should I use StreamYard or should I use Ecamm Live or and then just going through all these different things in my head, right? And like, well, should I create a website first or what should I do? And then I'm like, you know what? No, I'm just gonna go through and talk about the projects I was doing last night, and then I'm gonna maybe implement something here in a minute, right? So anyway, really excited about it, and here we are. So anyway, here's the Supabase deal, and I had that all set up. Now, I wish I could set up. So I'm still learning StreamYard. Obviously, I went ahead and went with that. And you can like have these different things and like add it to the stream, which there. I wasn't even freaking sharing it. What am I thinking? Here's Supabase. Anyway, here's what I was doing. And there's Supabase. So, but see, I have to stop the screen share, click present again, go find the screen I want to share again. I don't like the delay. I wish there was more of a easier transition, and maybe there is. I'm just not doing it right. But let's go back to ChatGPT, our dear friend, my homie GPT is what I call him. All right, share and add to stream. Okay, so here we are back in ChatGPT. And I'm not even going to get into all this. I'm just going to continue going down. I was just trying to get the folder structure right. And then it started coming up with new things that I needed to add. And it started coming up with like, and then I was just confused at this point. Like, well, what do I really need versus what do I don't need versus what do I do need? Because then it started doing all these things. I'm like, you also forgot this, I said, like, what about this? I had that in there from doing NPM and all these, anyway. So then after I did all that, I started having errors because I went ahead and ran it, right? And I said, well, I got all this in there. I got all the code in. I'm just going to, do localhost 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever, like, or 3,000 or 8,000 or whatever, right? So, and then I had errors. And I was just like, what is going on? So then it was telling me, oh, well, that's because uh, this contains this and it's doing this, so you need to change that, add these things in, and yada yada. Then I got concerned with, well, hey, look, I know it's not okay to put the API key in a front-facing client-side thing, and it said, hey, because I'm thinking of doing free tier software as a service at this point, so I wanted to try and make it as legit as possible. And so I said, is it safe to put the Superbase API key in the auth.js file? And it's like, no, it's not safe to do that, even though it told me to do that, right? And then it was like, you know what? Hey, you can just put this in a um, environment variable, so like a .env file, right? And I was like, well, is that really? Then I said, okay, so how do I make that happen? Um, And then it's like, say, well, since you're actually building a purely client-side application, you cannot securely store API keys using an environment variables or configuration files, which is what it just told me to do up there. So that's where I'm getting super confusing, right? So then it says, good for you for understanding that you should not put the API key directly in the JS file on the client side. Yeah, you can actually store the API key. Right. Yes, exactly what I said. Yep. .env file. Okay, so that's a great question. See, this is one that I had that I thought Chat GPT was going to help me answer, but it didn't, because it just kept going back and forth with like, well, it's secure. Well, it's not actually secure. And then it got into the point to where it was like, um, import that variable where you need to use it. Right. Import it. Yes. But my confusion lied in like, okay, well, why can't someone see the .env file, but they can see .js or .html or any of that? Like, how is .env actually on, like, there is no server, so there's no like server side, right? So it's still in where all the code is, like, you know what I'm saying? And you said no, you can 100% use a .env file. You just add .env to your .get ignore. Right. Okay. Got it. So get ignore. Yeah. And that was the other thing. Like when I went to commit, I committed like a ton of stuff that I didn't need to. Um, and it just was really messy. And it's actually, as soon as I committed a bunch of stuff, it actually like started airing out like everywhere. It was so bad because I had not done the correct things and added a few things to the get ignore file that I needed to. And so I actually went ahead and deleted a bunch of stuff, and I'm like starting fresh. You can see here is the repo, and it's like got nothing in it right now. So um, you said that's why, here we go. That's why they cannot inspect and find the .env file. You are 100% thinking the right things and are on the right track. Good for you, knowing ChatGPT is bullshit. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, like I know things here and there, and like I kind of had the thought process, and I don't know. I just talk to technical people enough that, or at least developers enough, that I understand some of these things. I guess I don't know. Maybe it's just, yeah, I don't know, understanding what APIs are and keys and all that too. Like that's another thing. I know a lot of that. I've known that for years, but yeah, I haven't actually done a lot of that. So um, anyway, not this depth in this depth at least. Okay, um, so then it's telling me. Let's see, where are we at? I asked it, yeah, how do I do that? And then it says you can actually, the best way to secure your API key would be to implement a backend server that handles the API key storage and communicates with Superbase securely. The front end would then interact with your backend server to retrieve and manipulate data, which I get that. That's almost like, it reminds me of a headless approach where you have like the back end and then the front end, and it keeps it very secure that way, and fast as well, right? But um, so it's saying, okay, well, let's use Express.js as the back end, and then it can serve that to your front end, right? So you would put in the server.js file here. It says you would put it in there, but see, this is where I still don't understand 100%. It's still using a JS file. I guess you would just put that in get ignored, just like you would do with the .env file. But like you were saying, Alexis, But anyway, I don't know. Um, so then it kept adding all these things in that I needed to do. And at this point, I said, okay, so hey, do I need to put any of this into get ignore, like parcel cache, disk node modules, uh, package log JSON? I didn't think I needed to put these JSON things in there, but anyway, it said, yeah, you should put these things in here. You should put partial cache, disk, and node modules, which makes sense to me. So because then it makes your file huge or your upload huge on Git, right? And I just don't need it to be public. So, um, but it didn't put the freaking. Well, I didn't ask it. I didn't ask it if I needed to put server.js in there, but I would imagine it would have been like, yeah, you should also put that in there if I needed to. So you said no. Okay, here. I love it. Thank you for the answers here. This is so good, Alexis. Thank you. You're a champ for real. Appreciate you. Um, no, because server.js will not be client side. It will be server side, right? So a .js file will be client side because it is referenced in your HTML file. Got it. Okay. Got it. Yes, I get it now. Whereas the .js file server.js is not referenced in the HTML, which is client side, and therefore would not be client side. It would be server side. And the only thing that you're serving to the client side is by, like you said, where did you say it? Import. You're importing it where you need it, and you're just pulling in that I guess that variable into there. So yes, awesome. See, I can understand things sometimes. um, so awesome. Thank you so much for explaining that. Here we go. And you said a normal main.js client side would be referenced in the HTML before the body tag closes. Right. Yes, I do understand that. While server.js file will not be referenced in your HTML file ever, that's why client side cannot reach it. All right. Awesome. All right, y'all. Well, hey, I don't have too much time left for staying on here. Unfortunately, it is getting very late here. It's almost 10 o'clock my time, and I need to help out with some things in the house. But basically, let me get to the very end of this, and I want to show you guys. Here it is. I'm at the end, and I said at one point last night, which I did tweet. If you go look through my tweets, you'll see. I said, where did I say it? Right here. I kind of gave up because I was getting errors everywhere, and it was terrible. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. So I said, okay, this is what I said originally. Okay, for now, can we go back to having simple Twitter retweet tracker with the winner selection, no SAS users or any of that? I'm done. And then oh, thanks, Alexis, appreciate that. You, of course, you get it so quickly. Thank you. That's awesome. I appreciate that. I hope so. I'm trying. So I was asking it to go back to like just something super basic because I'm like, you know what? I have stacked on so much here that I just am confusing myself and overwhelming myself. So I need to just really focus on getting bare bones something up and running. And also that'll help me with like feeling good about me actually making something happen, right? I took the action and now I've got something that actually works, even if it's just within the terminal and not, a front end or anything, right? Just being able to do some CLI stuff, right? Like a CLI app essentially. And so so yeah, this is what I did. And I said, so let's just do that. And I actually prompted again because it started to give me something I didn't want to see. And I said, right, you just got to reiterate to this thing a lot, right? And I said, actually using Twit because it started to do something completely different. So then it said, oh yeah, sure. Here's the thing with Twit, and then here's the library, and here's the deal. Let's do it that way. Boom, you're done. All right, awesome. That'll be an easy one. But then I was like, wait, it's telling me only the 100 tweets. I'm like, so it didn't even do that. It didn't include that again, right? So I'm like, okay, well, how are we going to track past the limit of 100 most recent tweets? And they kind of gave me this, and I was like, well, that still doesn't quite answer my. Well, yeah, it did actually. It helped, yes. So then now I've got to do another thing though. I've got to. It was telling me something different that I'd never seen it say before. Actually, it said this version of track retweets function will paginates through the retweets using the max ID parameter, allowing you to collect more than 100 tweets. But there was like 75 requests per 15 minutes. Da, da, da. I didn't think this was going to do what I needed to do. I thought, in fact, this is just going to run it. So, and then I was about to say this won't, and I actually hit enter. So this is what I said. I said this. Where'd it go? This won't work. I need to have the ability to track all the retweeters that retweet a specific tweet and then determine a random winner from the lot. So then I said, oh, okay, yep. Well, here we go. This is what you need to do. You need to have a streaming API. So it's constantly checking it. And then this is what you need. You need these libraries and Twit, and then this tracker.js file. And so I think I was here and I could do this now, right? Like this is okay, this is gonna work. So then I was like, but once again, I wanted to track automatically upon submission of the prompt to enter the tweet ID and then be able to stop the tracking and randomly pick a winner with the command line like stop, which was in the very beginning, and I probably could have used that, but I didn't want to go searching for it. I was just like, just give it to me fresh here, right? So it was like, here, yep, you can do that. Here's how you do it. Here's the modified JS. Boom, there you go. I was like, awesome. Now I was having issues. I was like trying to figure out how to remove parcel and disconnect from the local host server from earlier because I was like having an issue. Anyway, I ended up getting everything cleaned out, cleared, good to go. I didn't use anything what it told me here. I just figured it out on my own and made it work pretty easily. So that's where I'm at now, folks. And that took me a whole hour to explain all that, which is amazing because that was almost 5 hours of work right there, 4.5. 5 hours of going back and forth with Chat GPT last night. And I'm really excited because guess what? I got something here that I am going to put out, and I'm going to do this tomorrow with you guys live because I'm going to do day 2 of 100 CodeItUp. Yes, day 2 of 100. Thank you all so much for joining me tonight. I do need to get going, like I said. Otherwise, I would stick on for a little bit longer, but I can't, unfortunately. So thank you all so much. Greatly appreciate you. And I will see y'all in the next one. Thanks, Alexis, for joining me and for all your awesome information. Appreciate you. All right, y'all. Peace.